Hello and welcome to Boarding Party's D&D campaign. Featuring Bentley Woods, CJ, D. Blackwater, Milo Reuter, and Phoebe Wilhine. I'm Drew, the Game Master for the Laris region. Phoebe heads back to her old stomping ground to lend a hand in Ambercrag Medical Center for a few weeks, and finds the place overwhelmingly busy. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Mrs. and MXs around the whole world, cats, dogs, fish, and horses who have tuned in, welcome.
It'd be so cool if people were playing this for their horses.
Oh, can you imagine? Horse gang.
I'm scared of horses.
Welcome to yet another sort of final preparations.
Yes.
Little end games set up.
Mm-hmm.
This time, at long last, I'm joined by Phoebe.
I'm here.
Yes. Now, forget everything that you've learned in the last couple episodes, because we got to roll the time back. Because Phoebe has about a week to kill to catch up with everybody else, and then we're going to go a week ahead of everyone else.
Oh, we are?
So don't even worry about it. Well, you said you wanted to hang out here for 2 weeks.
That's okay.
If you change your mind, then we'll just abruptly cut. When I'll be like, what?
No,
Fade to Black,
I
directed by
like
Larry David.
That's an appropriate amount of time to try to learn a massive amount of medical information.
I would say so.
Like, or brush up on it.
Yes.
You know?
So, on that note, Feebles, as you head to the Ambercrag Medical Center, your friends have sort of gone their separate ways. Mm-hmm. They've all sort of scattered to the winds.
Yeah.
Dee's headed towards the coast. Milo's flying off. Actually, he didn't even come with you guys. He left from Green Gate. Bentley and CJ travel with you to Ambercrag and then
take off.
Run off towards the Woods Estate.
Oh, okay.
You are the one that will have the manor and access to all of its secrets every night, so if there's anything that you want to handle in there, you're the only one that can go in there right now, because everyone else is camping under the stars. Or just sleeping in like a hole.
I'm glamping.
Yeah, full-on glamping. You're like, I live better out here than I do at home. Wow.
That's true. Okay. I might after do a couple things in the manor, but I don't want to do it first.
Yeah.
So.
Again, you are the only one that can do it. And a lot of how I've been handling these is if you tell me like, oh, I want to spend a week or 2 weeks doing this one thing.
Okay.
We'll play for like an hour, and it's going to seem like one super busy day, but those are like highlight snippets.
Okay.
That way we don't really break the flow of events, but it also isn't like, well, you'd have a 15-minute break.
Yeah, we don't need to.
Like,
we don't need that
kind of
level.
Ignore those.
Yeah. That makes sense.
To get us started, as you head to the Ambercrag Medical Facility, ready to brush up on those doctoring skills.
Yes.
There are so many people in Ambercrag compared to the last time you were here.
Okay.
For lack of a better word, like
civilian people or
all of the above. Like the National Guard has been deployed.
Okay.
There are a few dozen like engineer types out here that seem to be working on various sort of build sites. Lots and lots of trucks are coming from the ports.
Okay.
With just like big steel beams and building supplies. And there are a ton of like FEMA tents set up everywhere.
Okay.
Lots and lots of extra medical personnel on staff.
Okay.
And even with all the extra hands, they still look completely overwhelmed.
Really?
There are people and critters being just dragged in, carted in, carried in all manner of disrepair. And the hospitals, it's buzzing, and not in like a good way. Like they are busy, they are slammed. It is all hands on deck, and you see 3 sort of tabs on the wall of like extra help needed.
Okay.
As you walk in, you're like, all right, hospital, I'm back. I'm ready to help. There are 3 specific areas that are in need of assistance, and it says contact this doctor for this thing.
Okay.
There is a Dr. Hansen who is looking for assistance in the sort of emergency, not like ICU, but like the emergency room.
Okay.
So like broken bones, sort of triage stuff.
Right. So the entry point.
Yeah. So kind of
triage.
Yeah. If you're like, I'm not dying, but like, can you set a bone?
Well, somebody could be dying.
That is true. That is true. So that is what Dr. Hansen is looking for help in.
ER zone.
Yes.
Okay.
There is, because it's gonna get a little bit weird because I'm not like I don't watch a lot of like Grey's Anatomy or stuff. I don't really know how hospitals break down.
Are we going into the like house area? No.
Yeah.
The weird.
So it's like there's like house, and he's like, this patient has too many mouse bites, and he's like, I prescribe more mouse bites. Yeah. There is a Dr. King looking for assistance in the emergency wing, specifically trauma surgery.
Okay, so that's kind of surgery.
Yeah, that is like if you want some hands-on assistance in like amputations and transplants.
Oh no.
That's like emergency surgery, and they need a ton of help. And we'll get into the why.
Oh boy.
And there's someone there's a Dr. Ulane looking for assistance in the infectious disease ward.
Ulane?
Yes.
In the infectious diseases.
Yes. And there are, to make it simple, there's a bunch of quadrants of this hospital, but the 3 that need help are like immediately to the left. There's some armed guards positioned.
Oh.
That's the emergency ward.
Okay.
And as you kind of pop in, everybody's abuzz. Like the champion is here.
Oh, okay.
And the champion is over there specifically.
In the emergency room?
Yes. Because as you may have heard from the emergency broadcasts, the champion's in a bad way. Just the way that they were sort of carried in here.
Okay.
With 2 shattered legs.
Right.
They weren't doing great.
Yeah.
So they're in emergency care. Nobody is in except for their doctor.
Okay.
Mostly for the doctor's safety.
Right.
Because they can't get the Urshifu to leave the room.
I'm surprised they wouldn't move the champion to like a private area.
Yeah, so they're in kind of the emergency room and then just under watch because they don't know how the strongest human fighter is suddenly reduced.
Quick question. I guess I could investigate a little bit.
Absolutely.
Did it say in the news thing? Because I don't remember. Are they unconscious?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
They have not regained consciousness since being sort of carried in here.
Okay.
So they walked away from you purely on adrenaline, and then the Urshifu ran them from Greengate to Ambercrag in under 2 hours.
Yeah, I remember that. And then, but she hasn't woken up.
She has not woken up.
Okay.
So they're like, under no circumstances does anybody see her until we know exactly what happened.
Right.
Because nobody knows.
Okay.
This person disappeared like 30 years ago, shows up the exact same age, but completely battered. And they're like, this is not normal.
This is an X-File.
Yes. So that's sort of the emergency wing.
Okay.
The sort of ER basic trauma stuff.
With Dr. Hansen?
Yes, with Dr. Hansen. That's on the 2nd floor.
Okay.
And those are non-critical patients. They need a ton of help.
Okay.
But nobody is like, if they were going to die, they get brought down to the emergency wing and they're like, okay, operate on them immediately.
Okay.
The infectious disease ward, as Phoebe would know, is a separate entrance that leads down into a basement. So it's very secluded, and there's a lot of sort of protocols in and out.
Okay.
But they also need a ton of help.
Right. And then the surgery one?
That is the sort of emergency wing.
Oh, it is?
That's basically everybody that pops in will go through Dr. Hansen, and they get sort of sent to the proper wing of where they need to go.
Okay.
That's why they're like, we need help bad. There's a lot of people coming in. Okay. But it just depends. So basically, what I'm gonna throw to you is wherever you go, whichever doctor you work with, will kind of determine the skill set you'll pick up on.
Right.
So there's the infectious disease ward.
Right.
There's the sort of field trauma, and there's basically like amputations and transplants, and prosthetic limbs and things like that.
Right. Okay. Let's. Can I just real quick?
Yeah.
Since I'm in the hospital, can I just look at a TV and like, is there a just the current broadcast, whatever it is?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be related to like the champion. I'm just curious what's being
right
blasted
now, like
still.
the big news,
Is
the
still-
big news story. They always circle back to like, so the champion was found.
Okay,
We have no idea.
So they're
what
still
happened.
talking about it. Okay.
That's like decade-changing news.
yeah.
But otherwise, it's pretty constant of various attacks in various areas.
Okay.
A lot of coverage of people are being flown in to Ambercrag from various towns
For treatment?
for treatment.
Oh.
You guys are the regional hospital, so it is
boy.
busy.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like as you look, like even as you're just kind of taking all this
That's-
in, there are like dozens of people being just carted off to various places.
Okay.
There's lines out the door of like people that are like, kind of have a headache, and they're like, oh, over there,
Okay.
get out of here. Like we can't help you right now.
And I'm allowed, I guess I could ask the doctors when I go in, but
Mm-hmm.
am I allowed to bring some people, right? Some of my team,
Yeah,
squad?
absolutely.
Okay.
If they're, because you are a sort of, this is your job, you
right.
just took some time off to go travel the world. You're like, I'm going to put in like a couple weeks. I'm just going to work for a while. Pay me. And they're like,
We don't pay you.
no, but we need the help. So get on it here.
Fine. I'll do it pro bono.
Pro bono.
Even though I'm
I love
getting
you too.
skills.
Pro bono.
Pro bono. All right. I think that I'm going to go.
To make it easy, where would you like to go first?
Yeah, I think the
'Cause
first.
they will all accept your help at any time.
Yes. I think considering, because this is my debate as Phoebe, right?
Yeah.
I definitely want to go to infectious diseases because maybe that can shed some light on the like transmission of the moon touched. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Who knows?
But for sure, I need like hands-on, like when we're in the sauce and lots of stuff is happening, I need to be able to help out in that capacity, which is going to be like intense. That's not going to be. I have,
Yeah. Because as you've seen with the moon touching, when
fungus.
Milo is not present, you have a couple options for treatment. There's sort of death, which is to be avoided. There's
one solution, death.
Yeah, in the case of like a Wadsworth style partial infection,
Yeah.
amputation works.
Okay.
It will prevent the spread.
Okay.
But beyond that, without being able to literally purify,
Like extract.
yeah, without Milo's ability of like, they just got moon touch, let me fix that for you.
Right.
You kind of have to do the Gumi Huntail route of beat them to within an inch of their life, and then Milo can do the thing. So far, those have been the only methods that you've seen that have been effective.
Right.
So the infectious disease ward is like running crazy.
Now, is there anywhere I get? I'll ask the doctors when I pick one. All right. I'm gonna start out with Dr. Hansen.
Dr. Hansen, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, you head up to the second floor, and you see a very, very tired-looking guy, and he's got the whole like surgical mask and stuff, and they offer you all the PPE. We don't have to cover it,
Right.
but you know to glove up, mask up, the whole schmack and deal.
Yeah.
As they kind of get you all covered up, and you walk in. He's a relatively friendly fellow,
Yeah.
despite the circumstance.
Okay.
He kind of perks up as you walk in. Hello there.
Hello.
I received word from downstairs that perhaps you are here to assist us in
Yes.
this extremely busy time.
Yeah, it's very busy.
It is delightful to meet you. I'm Dr. Hansen.
I'm Phoebe.
Pleasure to meet you, Phoebe. Well, welcome to... Well, you work here. Welcome to work. It's very busy.
When did it really pick up like this?
About a week ago.
Oh, really?
It's been quite busy ever since. I flew in not but maybe 2, maybe 3 days ago. I haven't slept much. The days all feel the same.
Oh, okay.
Yes, there are a great many creatures in need of our assistance. Perhaps you can assist me with one such case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow me if you would. And he'll kind of hustle on over, kind of creak a door open, and you see in the corner of a room that has a bed where this creature was originally laying, there is a very spiky yellow and white dog, and it's hiding in the corner. And it's got kind of purplish black veins around its eyes, kind of leaning down. This poor fellow was just flown in from Hillmouth a few hours ago. We have found no record of it having a trainer, and it doesn't seem to have a capture device, so we cannot get it to comply. It is broken out of all of our attempts, so we figure it must belong to someone.
Yeah.
But it appears to be quite badly poisoned. But not in the traditional senses. We haven't quite figured it out. I could use a fresh set of eyes.
Okay. And only its eyeballs are all
That's like
jacked?
kind of what catches you at first. It looks like there's just this sort of pulsing venom almost around its eyes. But you do notice it is like kind of all through its body. But it's very prominent in the face where the skin is sort of thinner.
Okay. So it's not, you've tried the typical stuff?
We have tried antidotes and, yes, and we had it on a healing table for a few moments, but that didn't seem to take an effect.
Oh.
So it seems to be some sort of various poison. We've gathered that much, but the poor dear won't let us get close enough to get a better look. Perhaps it just needs a skilled trainer to calm it down.
Yeah, I'll definitely try. Do I need my... Here we go. Found it.
And if at any point you think that one of your teammates might be able to assist, you can do that as well.
Right. Okay.
That is always an option.
Okay.
Or if you just want to take a look at them.
I think I'm going to try first to see if I can get a better idea.
Okay. Then we have a couple options. You may, if you'd like to examine from a distance, you can do medicine. Or if you'd like to try to get closer and get a better look, you try to make a Pokemon handling.
Okay, let's try Pokemon handling.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Blades goes.
Fingers crossed.
18.
18? Okay. It immediately starts to kind of bristle and lightning starts to kind of arc between, and Dr. Hansen goes, "Oh, well, good luck. I'll be right here." And he's like kind of around the door. And he's like,
"Thanks,
you're doing great."
Doc.
As you approach, he seems pretty ill-suited for veterinary work. He knows his stuff, but he's not super comfortable with a Jolteon that could kill him with a high-voltage shock. But as you walk in, very calm, what does a super high Pokemon handling look like from Phoebe? What sort of method? Are you doing the Chris Pratt? Are we doing the Mark Wahlberg? Hey, it's all right. Come here. Or some other version?
Okay, we're not doing the Chris Pratt psychic, clicker move.
Sit.
I'm going to approach, like with caution.
Yes.
And maybe like hold out my hand just in a non-threatening manner, like so it can like smell it, like you would a dog that's cornered and ill.
Very good.
So just to be like, listen, I want to help you. To convey that as much as possible, so non-threatening. Okay.
So you're just.
Ooh, I'll take. No. Okay, I'm just gonna approach up first. See how that goes.
Just approach, hand out,
so it can smell it if it wants.
Yeah, it's a little nervous at first.
Yeah.
But you're like, no sudden moves.
Yeah.
I
just calmly.
am not afraid. Kind of approaches. It's very bristly.
Listen, if I get zapped right now, it's probably a better.
You're in the best place that you could possibly be.
Yeah, but then to be moon touched after watching my friends. Be taken out. I'll take this.
The Jolteon will kind of.
There's no fear.
Sniff your hand.
Okay.
And then give it like a very gentle lick, and it's got a very sandpaper textured tongue. Sort of like a cat's tongue. It's very dry.
Okay. Is that the norm?
Make a medicine check with a reasonable DC. Pretty easy.
Medicine.
Yes.
Medicine.
Medicine.
Medicine. That's at 23.
Okay, this Jolteon is incredibly dehydrated.
Oh.
As its sandpaper-like tongue should feel more like a dog's than a cat's.
Okay.
But it feels much more like a cat's tongue at the moment.
Then, okay.
You can see a lot of its sort of muscles are very tight around, as if begging for moisture, but they do not have any.
So, I'm getting... Okay, so while it seems like he's dehydrated, or she, Jolteon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She, they. Yeah.
She, they.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Could we... What's the best way to get water? I mean, an IV would be the quickest, but I don't know if this thing's going to let me poke it.
It might be a little bit nervous.
Yeah, to poke it.
Yeah. Although I will say from your medicine check, you do also see kind of under the sort of like big spiky collar.
Yeah.
As it's kind of letting you get a little bit closer, there are 2 big puncture marks. Kind of right there. And they're pretty evenly spaced apart. And I'm not going to make you roll because you have scars to match. Exactly what kind of poison or venom might be coursing through this poor creature right now.
God damn.
It's always, it all comes back to these dang spiders.
These spiders.
Yeah.
Are they literally exact?
Oh yeah.
Like it's like...
I wouldn't go as far as to say it's the exact same Ariados.
Right.
But it is definitely
But that's
Ariados
what the bite
thing.
is. Okay. Yeah, it's not like something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
In perfect house capability, you're like, that's an Ariados bite because I have one right here, as you can see. He's like, I can't believe you didn't test for Ariados venom. Amateurs. And they're like, God, he's good. I've never watched House. I just assume that's how he is.
Okay. Well, it's definitely, Ariados poisoning.
Ah, well, if it is Ariados poisoning, perhaps a bout of Ariados anti-venom is in order.
Yeah. Do you have that on hand?
I believe we do.
That's good.
And he'll kind of like usher along and grab someone passing the hallway. He's like, I need an amount of cc's of Ariados anti-venom.
Some water.
And some water, perhaps in an IV form.
Yeah.
And a bowl.
Could try that. Bowl. Some ice. Need ice cube.
About a minute passes. These things are brought to you.
Okay.
And Dr. Hansen will kind of walk in with you, kneel down before the Jolteon, who's looking at you and is like, all right, do it.
Okay.
Whatever you gotta do.
Wait, how do we have to do with the anti-venom? Do you eat a capsule?
So they bring in a little bottle of it with a needle.
Oh, boy.
And they kind of...
Why?
And Dr. Hansen kind of...
You don't have like a nasal spray, Dr. Hansen?
Unfortunately, no, it does need to be administered at the bite site.
Oh, boy.
He's like, it's quite simple if you ever find yourself in need of doing this, and kind of just holds the sort of skin out where the 2 bite marks are.
Okay.
And just right between.
Reassure the Jolteon.
And it goes... And immediately you start to see some relief.
Okay.
As the anti-venom starts to kind of take its course.
Yeah.
The purple around the eyes gets a lot less intense.
Okay.
Still there.
Right.
But it gets a little bit less intense. They bring in a bowl of water, and it just begins to lap up some of the water there. He's like, well, excellent work for your first time working with me. Yeah. It was very good.
Good thing I got bitten by a spider before.
You know, I suppose it is quite fortunate in the present, given that you are okay from your spider bite.
True that.
Experience comes in many forms.
Personal.
Very well, fellow, and kind of pats the Jolteon on the head, who's like, thanks.
Is it a lot less defensive now that it's okay?
Now that the venom is not sort of pulsing through its eyes, it's like, ah! It's like, shall we?
Yes.
On to the next.
Yes.
Very good.
Next one. On it.
And you can see another sort of caretaker comes in to just sort of keep an eye on the Jolteon.
Okay.
So you head...
Is it a Chansey?
No, it is a human.
Okay.
A human person. As you walk down to the sort of a little ways down the hall into the next room. Now here is another fellow. This one we know for a fact to be wild, as it sought us out of its own accord. We are
Really?
unfamiliar as to the nature of what would have wounded it, because it is a cacturn, and they have no flesh to consume. So whatever attacked it sort of either did so as out of a mistake or is just pure malice.
Okay.
He'll swing the door wide, and you see a very badly slashed up cacturn.
Oh.
And it's kind of just like gashed open, and there's a lot of like fluid just kind of oozing around it. And you can see parts where it has tried to stitch itself back together with needles.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's like,
Help.
it didn't work. It
No.
really didn't go well.
That was a good effort, though. That's... wow.
Can you put the insides back in?
Hopefully.
And it's just, oh.
What's coming out?
It's like
Like goo?
it's a mixture of like kind of gelatinous cactus flesh
Okay.
and like a sort of exterior sort of
Skin?
bark skin,
Right,
whatever a cactus has on the
rough,
outside.
yeah.
Yeah. And there's just these big needle punctures that go like partially through.
Ooh, buddy.
He had the right idea.
Yeah.
He's probably seen someone with stitches, was like, how hard can it be? But didn't realize that you kind of need like
Got
string.
needles on my body.
Yeah, he's like, I can do this. It's like using a staple gun, but the staple isn't really working because it's just a straight line. And he's like,
Yeah.
please help.
Yeah.
He's just,
Can I take a closer look? All right.
like hobble over, and it's just like,
Oh. All right.
yes, this fellow was quite eager to fix himself.
Yeah.
He had the right idea, but the wrong tools, perhaps. I could use an extra set of hands. Have you ever done stitches before?
Nope.
Properly, not like with cactus needles.
No. No. Maybe one time.
Well,
Maybe sometime.
it's sort of like if you were to sew up a hole in a shirt, I suppose.
that
Just
easy?
a little bit messier.
Oh boy. Okay.
And he'll kind of bring in some thread.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do the first few and
Okay.
then pass it to you so that
Sounds good.
we can sort of show you how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he'll just kind of take the big chunk of flayed skin and just kind of like peel it back up. It is pretty gross.
Good thing I'm wearing a mask.
Yeah, and the cacturn itself is like, right then, and he'll start to.
Stitch him up.
Bake is 17, not bad. Not bad. Okay. He starts to stitch up, and he does like one whole side and then half of the other.
Okay.
And he goes, all right, fellow, try not to move. Now you just take this needle
Okay.
and just sort of work it through very gently. You have to go all the way through the skin and then under across. Try not to cut anything beneath and pull up through the other side. It's like tying your shoes.
All right.
All right,
I'll
Phoebes,
try.
give to me
Medicine?
a medicine check. I will
Okay.
give you advantage
'Cause I just
because Dr.
watched.
Hansen is going to assist you as well.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
make sure
That
he's
makes
not just
sense.
going to be like, you do it, I have to leave.
I mean,
He's
with
like,
how
you
busy
are,
it is,
yes,
honestly,
you are
I wouldn't
assisting
be
him.
surprised.
Yes. But he's also like, he doesn't just expect you to do his job.
Right.
He's like, I will teach you what I know.
Okay.
And then cut you loose if you are like, okay, I get
If
it.
I seem
Yes. But otherwise, he's more than happy to just have
Competent.
somebody, an extra set of hands with all these.
okay. A competency roll.
You can do it.
Oh boy.
Okay, you have advantage.
Oh.
So whatever you do it twice.
Okay. That wasn't that bad.
Kaboom!
With my modifier. Oh, but that'll make it a 16.
A 16, very good. You are able to kind of, and in pretty short order with some direction, you're able to finish up some of
Fix
these
her up.
sutures. As the cacturn kind of sits up and they start to bend, he goes, never mind. All right. And he just goes,
Yeah, you don't want to move. Looks good now.
and he pulls all of the needles like out of his palm and is like, high five. Thanks. And then he'll just sort of motion and be like,
Bird? Oh, big ears. Bat? Oh, it picked you up? Was it trying to eat you or take you somewhere? What the heck? Oh, you fell on something? And that's what cut you? Or the bat grabbing you? Okay. All right. Where was this at?
Just points
in a
vaguely
direction.
into the field. He's like,
Are these common here?
it's like, I've never been in a box before. Where
I
am
have
I?
no idea what
I don't
direction.
know. He's like,
Fair enough.
I saw all these people coming in here and they all looked bloody too, so I was hoping you could help me.
Interesting. Well, maybe I'll do some follow-up and see what direction he came from.
Okay.
So he has no idea. He's just like, I was picked
He's
up.
like, I was. Where's the sky?
Fair enough. Hold on, I'm just going to write down.
Yeah.
Follow up.
Yes. It will be very obvious to Phoebe, given how much time you have spent in Ambercrag, both now and before. Cacturn is one of the sort of native species. They're everywhere.
It is. Okay.
They usually don't mess with anybody, and nobody really messes with them on account of they're covered in spikes, and they're generally pretty friendly. They just don't like to be in towns.
I mean, this Cacturn, I don't know if I need to do a check, seems pretty just like run-of-the-mill, like wasn't up to anything.
No, he seems pretty upfront. He's like, I was in the field.
Yeah.
And then
Out
I
of
was in the
nowhere.
air.
Okay.
And then I was on the ground.
Okay.
And ow!
Yeah. Yeah, your giant gashes bear out that story. Okay. Well, appreciate it, Cacturn.
Yeah.
Don't try that again.
Wouldn't dream of it.
Good luck.
Cactus was not meant to fly.
Yeah, I know. Keep your eyes on the sky.
It's like I will from now on.
Yeah.
I've never seen a bird big enough to pick me up, so that's good.
You said it had big ears, right? Big, huge ears. Closed eyes. Okay. All right. Cool. Stay
Very
safe
good.
out there.
He's like, you're pretty cool.
At least that's what I think. This
Yeah.
Cacturn was
He's
trying
like,
to
go away. I don't have fingers to point at the door.
leave my room.
Okay. But as you patch up yet another for Dr. Handsome, it's like, shall we see another? Or
Yeah.
have you had enough of the trauma wing?
Let's do one more.
Very good. All right. On to the next. I believe I could use your sort of calming abilities on our next fellow.
Okay.
This one, unlike the last fellow we were just with, does in fact have a registered trainer, though we cannot seem to find them or get a hold of them.
Oh, is the Pokeball here?
The Pokeball was indeed brought in with the fellow in his
Okay.
one good hand.
Oh.
I'll explain more when you sort of see him.
Okay.
How familiar are you with the Charmeleon species? It's entirely your call. You spent some time with Ruby,
Yeah.
but if you think Phoebe would have seen, Charmeleons are also pretty common for Ambercrag. I know that's
Okay.
sort of counterintuitive for Pokemon knowledge.
right.
That a starter line would be
Is
everywhere.
everywhere, yeah.
But Charmander and Charmeleon, very common. Charizard, almost never seen.
I mean, I definitely know about them.
Right. Well, this one seems to have had one of its arms removed.
What?
By some means or another.
Fully?
He did bring it in, though it was taken to the infectious disease ward.
Oh.
It was sort of almost marbled. Very gross.
Like loss of color?
Yes, typical of a lot of the individuals that come through the door these days.
Especially the last week?
Yes, definitely in the last week. All of these attacks across the region have been really getting out of hand.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at this fellow. And as he opens the door, you see a Charmeleon just kind of propped up on a hospital stool almost, because he's got this sort of long flaming tail. No good to sit him in a bed. He would just light it on fire. He's just kind of sat there, and his arm is indeed missing. The left arm, to be specific,
Wait,
has been sort of removed.
you said Dr. Hansen, he came in without the arm.
Well, he was carrying it.
Oh.
He brought it with him.
So you guys didn't remove the arm?
No.
Okay.
No, as far as we can tell, he removed it himself.
Oh.
The sort of removal process is a bit jarring. You can see it's not a clean cut or break.
Right.
It's like some sawing. And the claws on his right hand kind of show that. They're a little bit dulled.
Oh boy.
And the fellow is very, very barely conscious. And the wound is still bleeding. And Dr. Hansen will kind of approach. As you can see, he is in need of cauterization, but being a fire type, we're having a bit of an issue.
Oh.
Finding a means to cauterize his wound, because the fiery nature is preventing it. And usually when we perform an amputation, we are prepared.
Yeah.
But this was sort of done in the field, as the Charmeleon just half opens one eye and is like, heh.
This is rough.
Rough indeed.
Okay, so you tried to cauterize it, but you couldn't?
We have tried a few times, but we can't quite get our materials hot enough.
Oh.
As Charmeleon here runs in the high almost 200s under the skin. It's a bit difficult to cauterize a wound when it's nearly as hot as the tool we would use.
Do you have a tool that can take, like, being heated? Even
I imagine we do,
iron?
but we don't really have anything to heat it hot enough.
Oh.
So we may need perhaps another bound. I was thinking perhaps we could use some bandages on it and just see where we get with that. But ordinary bandages do in fact burn away. Now, here's where I would like to pick your brain, as you have traveled the world. We have another patient in nearby that I believe may be of some assistance, but it may require some persuasion.
Okay.
We have a Dusclops. Are you familiar with the species?
Ghost, right?
Yes, big sort of fellow made mostly of bandages. Now, we've got him. He seems to
want his
have
bandage?
caught himself on one of the cattle fences and mostly unraveled. However, he does not want us to rewrap him for one reason or another.
Okay.
But you seem to have a way with these fellows, so perhaps you might have a word with him.
Okay. To get some bandage?
Yes, if you would be so kind as to have a look-see, I will keep an eye on our friend here and try
Okay.
to do what I can.
Yeah.
He's just across the hall.
All right. I go across the hall.
Okay. So you head across the hall. You see about 2/3 of a Dusclops. And it's partially just unraveled. And it's just
Has anyone
holding...
seen this before?
People in the hospital are like...
Interesting. Not what I thought.
Yeah. And it's very bizarre because it's bandaged, and then in the spots where it's not, there's just nothing. You just see clean through, and the bandages aren't attached to anything.
Okay.
And you can see like a glove where its
Interesting.
hand should be
Yeah.
is just on the ground, and it's just...
Are they sure he doesn't want to be wrapped up again?
He's just like... The bandages are just falling down. It's not getting worse
dude.
because he's no longer caught, but it seems like he was just walking
Yeah.
and then just like a roll of toilet paper. It was just getting undone. He was caught on a hook, and then eventually he just started to fall apart.
Oh boy.
So he's just kind of holding in one arm just this mound of bandages.
Yeah, you've become unwrapped. So what? Do you want to re-wrap yourself? It's not working? Do you want me to try? Okay. I'll try.
Okay. Give to me dexterity, or if you are good with it, you may use sleight of hand.
Let's see.
Or I will say you could make a case for medicine.
My dexterity and sleight of hand are the same.
Okay.
Let's... I feel like it could fall under medicine if I'm trying a tight wrapping technique, right? Not your typical, like, let me just slap this on here.
Let me just This bad boy can fit so many insides in it.
So I'm gonna. I mean, if. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
It was too intense, so I wanted something that's just tense.
Is this not more tense?
I just really love this song. Good.
Okay. Well, I'll do dexterity.
Okay. I believe in you. Good luck.
Natural 20 on the die.
Okay. Your first pass through is literally a pass through.
Okay.
As you very quickly piece together, it's kind of like if you were to take a Dusclops and like take a bite out of it. In the sense that the bandages have just kind of lost their form.
Okay.
But you tap into the sort of bizarre, ethereal nature of your time in Wilhelm Manor.
Yeah.
And imagine the rest of the Dusclops shape.
I'll be like, do you
and
want
you're
anything
able
special?
to just...
You want anything special added to you? Like a little wing or...
Wing. As you're wrapping around, you kind of go... You catch like the bottom of it, and he's like, whatever you're doing, don't stop. And you manage to not only patch up this fellow, but you notice that the bandage roll never gets smaller.
Okay.
You just keep going. And you're like, mind over matter. Whatever, it's working. As you're able to rewrap this fellow, and then just kind of go around, and you give him this very bizarre, like, bandaged set of wings.
Yes.
As he's just...
Is he able to fly? Now you can just float over things.
And give you a big hug. And it's very bizarre because you know that there should be substance under there, but the bandage just completely gives way and like starts to envelop you, and then it just lets you back out.
Comes back.
And you see there's still just that kind of edge of bandage hanging from the top of the wing, and he's like,
would you mind? Ooh. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You're gonna be a pretty rare Pokemon.
He's just delighted.
Can I borrow some of your bandage? Just like some piece.
And he hands you the roll.
Thank you. Roll it up. What? Thank you? Oh, you're welcome.
And then he just takes off through the wall.
All right. See you later.
And you just see in the daylight a big old ghost. He won't be getting caught on any cattle fences ever again.
Yeah.
Because he'll never land. I'm never coming down. I'm flying away.
Now I'm curious. I want to test it out. This piece of bandage they gave me, does that keep going and going, or is it like
It does seem to be a nigh infinite amount of bandage.
Oh, that is sick.
Yeah. Because that was a natural 20, so you get rewarded.
Sick.
Yeah. So you have, you can write anywhere that you will remember, endless bandage.
Endless bandage.
Because it literally does not run out.
Come on now. How useful is this going to be?
Incredibly.
Endless bandage.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. That's sick.
And bandage. Oh man, of all the things you could have gotten, I'm excited to get that one. Okay. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Well, I'm gonna like cut it in half. Or I guess
like down
cut a piece. Cut a piece off.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming if I do that, they'll both.
So as soon as you sever it, there's a spot that looks like a gauze that's been rolled up.
Okay.
If you were to unravel that and cut it, this becomes a tangible piece. That make sense?
Yeah.
So like, this part will always be infinite, but once you cut it, it becomes
a piece.
A finite piece of bandage.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you start from one end, you could wrap something infinitely, nearly.
Okay. All right, cool. I'm I'm going to cut off. Well, no, I'm not going to cut off. I'll go back to the room.
Okay. Back to the Charmeleon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Head back to the Charmeleon, and you see Dr. Hansen is sort of like calming him down and holds out a piece of coal, and he's just nibbling on it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
That's how they do.
Well, I was able to get some bandage.
Oh, phenomenal! I knew that fellow had a heart of gold in there somewhere. I couldn't really find any
Yeah, that was
internal
really weird.
organs.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't either.
as far as I can tell, the fellow is more of a ghost than anything else.
Yeah.
But well done, you yet again, Phoebe. You are a wunderkind, as it seems. A true blessing.
Thank you.
You're like, go on.
Don't stop, Dr. Hansen. I'm all ears.
Now then, perhaps if we were to try the application of some of this bandage, as I do believe it may in fact be cold enough to cool down Charmeleon's wounds, which may indeed staunch the flow of blood as well.
He's just been bleeding out this whole time?
He has. We've been sort of keeping him, and you see there's a little blood bag attached to his good arm.
Okay.
Just keeping him intact, but they've just been putting towels on it. It just keeps going.
Boy. Okay.
Because he runs hot. I know lizards are cold-blooded, but he's literally on fire. I can't. What want me to do? So they're like, I can't cauterize a lava lizard. It won't work.
All right, let's give it a try.
All right, roll me a medicine check. Once again with advantage because you've managed to secure yourself a lovely roll of endless bandages. Means eventually the blood will have to stop pooling through. Because it is only so soluble.
All right. That's going to be 24.
24? You do have advantage if you'd like to see if you crit. A 24 is very sufficient.
Oh, I did crit! I build him a new arm with the bandage.
Yeah, so as you take this bandage, I imagine you could do that if you were to think about it, because that is the nature of this bandage.
Oh, okay.
It won't be a functional arm, but you can wrap it and he'll feel a little bit normal.
Okay.
But as you will be made aware just over time in here, there is a doctor on site that is good at making prosthetic limbs.
Okay.
But you make a good facsimile for now. You're like, no one will even know.
Yeah.
And he's like,
looks good. Did the bleeding stop at least? That was the main.
Seems to have.
Okay.
The very edge of it kind of lines with blood. And then the nature of the bandage seems to just sort of staunch the flow.
Okay.
And then just kind of grow a little bit constrictive. But he stops bleeding. And then there's just sort of this big cast hanging down.
It's almost like living bandage.
It is, kind of.
I guess that makes sense if there's nothing underneath it.
Mm-hmm. It would
be the bandage.
It will hold to a structure that you hold it to, as this thing is from the ethereal plane. It can see what isn't there but is supposed to be. And it can see what's there that's not supposed to be. And right now, it sees an arm. So you're like, Hex! Have an arm! He's like...
Like, he can move it?
He can move it. But it's
not like a
rigid,
functioning...
But it's like, it kind of flops around a little bit. But for now, at the very least, he's not bleeding and he seems happy.
Okay, cool. This is some cool bandage. We'll get you a better one later.
And Dr. Hansen is like, you continued to impress. I don't know how you did you must be really good at origami.
Yeah, let's go with that.
My goodness. That's ridiculous.
So you said he has a Pokeball that he came in with.
Yes.
But the trainer's not.
They have been so far unable to find or get a hold of the trainer.
Do they know who the trainer is then?
Yes.
Who's the trainer? Do you mind? Is this a HIPAA violation, Dr. Hansen? Who's the trainer?
Well, I mean, you kind of are working there.
That's true. As long as I don't share the information.
It's sort of like an open call of like, hey, have you seen Have you seen this guy? Let me see if I have.
Oh, so they're trying to contact the trainer.
Yes, they are actively looking for this person.
Yeah. Mind if I look at his
I
file?
am blanking, but I'm fairly certain the trainer's name was Evan?
Evan?
Think. I don't have that doc pulled up, but I'm fairly certain.
Okay.
I will get back to you when I figure that out later.
Okay.
But for now, yes, they do have a name of the trainer, but nobody has seen him.
And this Charmeleon doesn't seem particularly anxious to go out and find Evan.
No, he's, at the moment at least, is just extremely caught up on the sort of flopsiness of his arm.
Yeah.
He's like, ooh, gross.
Okay. And Dr. Hansen, do you remember how he came in? Did somebody bring him in?
No, he walked most of the way into town and then collapsed.
And someone found
And
him
then
and brought
someone,
him in?
yes, one of the assistants outside helped carry him in.
Okay. This is odd. A little odd.
Yes, well, he is welcome to remain here until we track down the trainer.
Yeah. Okay.
Rest assured, we have plenty of space despite how busy we are. A lot of folks are just sort of patched up and sent along on their way.
Okay. Do you know, you said that there's been a lot of the colorless...
Yes, I fear my experience with them is quite limited. I do send them to the infectious disease ward as we were instructed to do.
Are they all sent there?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyone even remotely suspected of sort of the sickness is sort of brought below so as to avoid the spread.
Okay. That's good.
We know it is primarily caused by exposure to a specific subspecies, perhaps, of Elgium.
Yeah.
But we know precious little beyond that.
Okay. And you're not sure? I'd have to go to the ward to see if...
Yes,
made progress?
I can put in a word with Dr.
Cool.
Ulane for you if you would like to
Yeah.
sort of check in down there. I imagine they could use help just as much as I did, but you have put me quite far ahead of the curve, and I must thank you for that.
No problem.
So from your couple days of helping
Dr. Hansen.
Dr. Hansen.
These were the highlights, people. Highlights.
Yes. Highlights, people. Highlights.
Highlights.
Phoebe, you now have expertise in medicine if you didn't already.
Yeah, I don't know if I did.
And...
I don't think so, but...
Okay. So you have expertise in medicine, which...
What does that change it to?
So basically you're going to add your proficiency bonus again. So you're going to get an extra 3 on top of that. You're going to be even better at medicine than you already are.
So it'd be +9?
Yeah. It's going to be a crazy good thing. Additionally, if a creature is on death saves, you as Phoebe can run over to them and use a bonus action, stabilize them.
Ooh.
Then they're not on death saves anymore. Then they don't get up,
right?
But they don't get worse.
They're
you
not
run
having
over,
to save.
Wrap them with that magic bandage. They're not bleeding out anymore.
Okay.
Additionally, over a short rest, and I'll make sure that you get all this later too, so you don't have to worry too much about it.
I'll have to write it down. Okay.
Over a short rest,
I will forget if I don't.
Yeah. Over a short rest, even if you don't have access to a medical table, once per day, you can fully heal a single creature over a short rest.
Okay.
So you can basically healing table one thing.
Okay.
From 0 to full.
Normal? Okay.
Yeah. You can basically do a max revive on somebody on a short rest.
Okay, cool.
So that you can do once a day just because it takes that amount of time. You'd have to sit with them for about an hour.
Okay.
But you can get them from 0 to 100 with
that should be a big deal if you're resting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because usually over a short rest, if you guys don't have potions or something, there's nothing they can do. They just have to sit in the ball because they're like, I hurt. You can fix one now.
Okay.
But yes.
Sick.
Dr. Hansen will sort of put in a word on a pager, just doot, 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 and send word down. Dr. Ulane says she's very much looking forward to meeting you.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I must thank you again for your
help,
incredible assistance today.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me.
And these last few days, I suppose.
Yeah, thanks for letting me help out.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a little rusty.
I'm very happy to have an extra set of hands, and I believe we are leaving the infectious disease ward in very capable hands.
Do you, could I get one of these, like, pagers?
Yes, absolutely. If you see Kelly down at the front desk, I believe we have a few extras for all of the folks that are helping out.
I'll probably swing by or whatever. We can just pretend like this happens at some point.
Yeah.
But I would like to just like keep in contact. You just want to like.
Yes,
tell me if anything crazy comes in here.
Yes, if any mysterious cases come through.
Yeah.
Or if we have a
or
particularly jittery. Although I imagine if an LGM comes in, it will be sent to you if you are down there.
Okay.
That is where we are sort of sending everything.
Do you know if any LGM have been around?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay.
The Bureau of Discovery has been sort of handling them for the time being.
Oh.
As they are the only known instantiations of this sort of sickness from nothing. They've been sort of taking a slightly more violent approach than they might normally.
Oh.
Yes, it is. It is quite tragic, but as far as I am aware, the LGM are capable of sort of constituting from the rock and soil beneath our feet. So they don't seem to mind too much being put down in droves. Ordinarily, I would object, but given
So they just come back?
Yes. That's something that Phoebe has seen. Well, the sort of behemoth that can sort of just rip a bunch of LGM out of the floor.
Oh.
In those fights.
But what about the behemoth? I think
the
I was thinking about the behemoth.
Those are like an actual creature.
But they got like...
Putting them down is the same as like killing a
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be like putting down any other creature.
Okay.
So your mileage may vary on the morality on that scale.
Okay.
Whether or not they even know what they're doing. But the LGM, as far as they can tell, this seems to be a subset of them that are just pulled from the ground, have whatever this sickness is, can spread it extremely quickly, and if you put them down, they could just be reconstituted later. So the Bureau of Discovery figured out real quick,
just
shut it down as soon as they show up.
Okay.
Pop those guys.
Do I know about this bureau? Is this something that's just part of this world?
Make a history check.
New? Is this new to the events that are happening?
Because our lovely Tater Tot players have seen them before.
16.
16. They are from Alluvia, traditionally. They are the sort of mayor's personal security group.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is that what they were called back then, too?
I believe so. They may have been... Because I'm trying not to make them the FBI, which is literally the Bureau of Investigation. So they are currently, and I believe they were at the time, the Bureau of Discovery.
I just need to find the X-File equivalent in this world. What's his name?
Mulder?
Mulder.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of his name.
It's like, God,
the show.
Me, man. Aliens.
I gotta find the Mulder of the Bureau of Discovery, and that guy or lady will know what the heck is up.
The one that believes you about that. All the aliens.
Yeah.
Although it is becoming quite obvious to everybody in the world that very clearly whatever's happening is related to the moon.
Okay, so everyone knows.
Yes. Everybody is starting very quickly to piece things together.
Okay.
Because
it's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere, and everybody that gets away has the exact same story.
Right.
It's night fell, there was a full moon,
okay.
Noiverns flew in, LGM came in by the hundreds.
Okay.
Wiped out as many people as they could, and then they were either driven off or the town was destroyed.
And they're seeing the actual transition to moon touch.
And they're seeing that process.
Okay.
So they are starting to put things together. And because you are sort of hospital staff, nobody's keeping this information from you. Right. They will let you know. They're like, this is the protocol when they come in.
Right.
You see anybody with any signs, and they're starting to get those posters of like, from any zombie movie of like, signs of infection.
Right.
All pasty white, no eyes, super angry, light sensitivity, afraid of fire, lack of emotion. Okay. Like these are signs to look
This is good. This is good that everyone knows.
Yeah, they are catching on because I know a lot of people are like, how come the world is not freaking out? They totally are.
Yeah.
But the Tots have been on the road so much they haven't like sat in one spot to see the response.
Yeah.
To the point that Ambercrag has kind of become like ground zero. Where it's a big town that's open, and you can see things coming from all sides. Okay. There's not a big forest blocking anybody's view. There's a like a field that is a couple days walk out to the coast, and there's a mountain behind them. Very easy to defend, very easy to get everybody here.
Okay.
So it's a place that they're sort of gathering.
Okay. And Dr. Hansen, you said the Bureau of Discovery's here?
Yes, they are the sort of intimidating fellows, the hats and the vests and the guns.
Okay, that makes sense.
They put on a very strong show, but so far they've been very helpful in sort of keeping us well defended. We had a few ruffians a few days back try to sort of sneak into a few places, and they were promptly escorted out.
Oh, really?
Yes, 2 young boys, I believe.
Oh, what? Do you have a description?
Yes, one of them was wearing some sort of weird cat burglar suit, and he pretended to grab a stack of papers and fell on the floor, and they dragged him out. He had dragged another young boy with sort of dark hair and a ball cap, I believe they said, and they were seen walking out of a supply closet. They were promptly escorted off the premises. They were messing around in the trauma surgery wing, so they were very promptly asked to leave.
Wow. They sound like a couple of idiots.
Yes, it is our strong belief they had come in to sort of steal supplies.
Oh, really?
Well, they were seen in a supply closet. Nothing was missing, thankfully, but...
Fair enough.
As far as we can tell. But the Bureau was very quick to have them removed from the premises.
Okay. They just took them off the property?
Yes, they were just sort of escorted out the door.
Told to leave.
I can't imagine they were older than 12, maybe 13.
Okay.
You know how children are.
Yep.
As you're like, yes, I do. I am not one of them.
I don't know these people.
I am not a child, and I don't know them.
I'm not associated with these people.
Yep. But even if you were, Dr. Hansen has spent a couple days working with you. He's like, you're very clearly not like them.
Okay. Off property, so they just took him off property.
Yeah. But he will, probably at the end of like day 1, he'll get you set up with a pager.
Okay.
And then they'll set you up in sort of like staff quarters, so that you have a room and a place you can go.
Okay.
You have access to a PC, so you can get your Pokemon in and out anytime you want.
Okay.
You're also more than welcome to sleep in Wilhelm Manor if you want to just gloss over it. 4 days into this, we don't have to jump to that right now, but 4 days into this, your scrying orb will recharge.
Okay.
Just so that's out there.
That's a possibility. Okay.
Yes. I wrote it on the calendar so that I would not forget. It is literally listed.
I'm gonna have I feel like a core team of people with me, like helping out.
Sure. Given the circumstance, if you wanted to, for sake of example, if you were like, Claremont is gonna go help like bring people in.
Yeah.
He would not then count against the number of people you could have with you.
Okay.
Given what you're doing. Because you're on hospital grounds, you could get like a permission slip, basically.
Oh, okay.
In world lore.
Yeah, right.
You could sign Claremont over to help.
Okay.
And he could then kind of help bring people in and out.
Okay.
If you wanted to have Pontiki in like a sick wing to just like brighten everybody's day,
right,
you could do that. Like those are options available to you.
Okay.
You don't have to do those things, but if you want your team to be working in these areas, that is an option available to you, because they'll be like, okay, this is Phoebe's execute bunch.
Yeah.
This is Phoebe's Pichu. Like, we know these guys. Like, you could just be like, hey, this is Pontiki. This is kind of what she's all about. Give her a banana, she'll do literally anything. So do menial label for bananas. And she's like, I will not. Give me a banana.
I'll do whatever you want.
Test me. Okay, I failed. I'll do it.
Okay, yeah, I would definitely like to do that.
Okay.
I don't know. Are we getting into specifics?
We can cover those over time.
Okay.
If you want like a couple real-time days to figure it out, you just message me later. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But that way it's out there for you.
Yeah.
Because we're focused mostly on what you're doing. If your team is separate from you, you can just be like, so-and-so does this, and we'll figure it out.
I mean, some of it would be separate, but I do want everybody, I guess, to be, for us to be able to work as, like, a well-oiled unit. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes down to it. So, like, for them to also have that hands-on experience.
Yeah, so anybody on your team
So like if we
someone
go to,
like Sage.
yeah, like Sage because he's got the vines, he's a little more dexterous.
Yeah. And also like
even
grassy
Gumi.
terrain can be used as well.
Yeah, even
Like-
and like Gumi can kind of manipulate his goo.
Yes. Gumi can in fact goo. Oddly enough, potentially, Shirley is in quite high demand.
Okay,
Given the sort of
that's good.
sticky and partially acidic properties of the antacid that she produces.
Okay.
And also its ability to shut down sort of hostile abilities. So if a wild Pokemon were to come in with, say, Flame Body, and they need to work on it,
Okay, I see.
she
I
could
see what you mean.
She
Okay.
could throw some gastroacid on it, suppress them
Okay.
while
okay.
they're like unconscious for surgeries and stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
Shirley's
I like it.
antacid specifically is in like
Okay.
super high demand if you were to offer it.
Yes, we'll do that.
Because she can also be with you and just hand out like jars of it.
Okay.
Because she just naturally secretes it, but
Like, she's
usually
got a
it's
little
just
cart?
reabsorbed. Yeah, she's like,
She's going around the wards, just like you need.
you need some
You
of
need
my.
some of this?
You need some jam. How about you? You look like you need some jam. Do you need to be partially dissolved? Would you like to suppress the darkness within? Here you go.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely wanted to include them. I can also, like I said, I think I'll come up with some specific things.
Yep.
And then when we go, I want to go to Dr. Ulana next. I'll throw in a couple people.
Yeah,
there.
absolutely.
I think-
Anytime for any of these sort of situations, if you're like, you know who would be super helpful here,
Okay.
This person.
Just throw them out.
throw 'em in.
Okay.
Because like Astrid, Moonlight, super helpful. If it's nighttime, you can heal somebody. Anybody that has like an external recovery move, they're like, please.
Okay.
Like there are chances running around like crazy,
All right.
just doing soft boiled left, right, and center. They're like, here, take the egg, please. Take the egg.
They want the egg anymore.
They're just Jesse Pinkman, tears in the eyes. Take it. Take it. Go on. Take it.
Take it. Take it from me.
Yes. But for the sake of getting myself back on track,
Okay.
as you head into the sort of infectious disease ward, you have to leave the medical center and sort of head
Okay.
down. It's like where
Like
an
a
ambulance
bunker?
would be dropped down to, and there's a big hazmat symbol on the front. And similar to the second floor, there's a full like PPE setup, but it's like a hot room setup. It is a full hazmat suit, like
Okay.
CDC
Is there, like,
guidelines.
restricted entrance, like entry?
There would be, but Dr. Hansen has sent down word that you were super helpful, and Dr. Wilane is like,
Okay, so
"I
they know I'm
how to
coming."
get-" Yes.
But it is like everyone can't just like go there.
Yes, there are two sort of bureau fellas outside with the rifles, and they're like, Dr. Wilhelm, and you're like, that's right, I am.
For sure.
You're like-
I for sure am a doctor and I'm very
Yes,
important.
I am a doctor. Yes, I am important. Okay. But yes, as you kind of like scan your little hospital ID badge, your clearance level has been upgraded to let you in.
Okay.
As you kind of get suited up, you see a lady come walking around the corner in the similar like full suite of gear.
Okay.
You've got like an internal mask and sort of goggles and stuff, and then that big kind of like yellow or white suit that goes over everything.
Right.
In addition, so that there is no chance. It's like in the Last of Us when they're looking at the body, and they're like literally zero chance of
they're
exposure.
like bringing in oxygen. To the
Exactly.
suit.
And
Okay.
you've got like a big tube that goes on a rack to the top so that you can breathe,
Right.
because people tend to get kind of anxious in these things.
Okay.
But you don't get a ton of detail about her. There's not a lot of physicality that you can see. She just has these kind of dark brown eyes.
Oh.
She's like,
Hi.
Are you Phoebe?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just lost in thought. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes.
Dr. Henson told me you would be coming and that you were extremely helpful upstairs.
Oh, that's.
I look forward to working with you.
I appreciate it.
Welcome to the infectious disease ward.
Yeah.
It's... I should warn you, it's a bit intense down here, so if you ever need a break,
Okay.
just excuse yourself and come back in here. We can spray you down. You can head outside for some fresh air.
Okay.
But it's a lot.
Is that how many people are working down here?
Not many.
Okay.
A lot of folks are hesitant to try to help given the more violent nature of some of our patients.
Yeah. True. Makes sense.
Well, I suppose we should start by covering what we've learned about the Lunar Corruption sickness.
Yeah,
as we are calling it.
Have you guys made any progress at all?
We've made very little, I'm afraid.
Oh,
We
no.
do have some hope in the form of a nice creature I will introduce you to in a short while when we get into the depths of the facility.
Okay.
His name is Tito, and he has been
Tito.
immeasurably useful in sort of holding back a lot of the spread of the corruption now that it's down here.
Oh.
So we don't really have a cure, but so far Tito has been able to halt the progression.
All by himself?
All by himself. The poor dear is working harder than any of us to keep this all under wraps. I must insist on some degree of secrecy when you exit from here. We do not want to cause a panic.
Right.
The Lunar Corruption sickness, or LCS, or corruption, whichever you prefer, is incredibly contagious, as we have learned. We seem to have one of the origin cases in here, as well as a few different examples of different species at various
Stages.
points of infection, yes. When they reach a certain point, the only cure we have so far has been to put them down or put them in an extensive coma. It is not the easiest thing to do, and I will not ask you to do it if you're not comfortable. It is not a decision that we make lightly,
Right.
but when it becomes obvious that the only thing we can do is hurt them,
Right.
any alternative is preferable. We try to do the humane thing. It is a last-ditch effort, but
Right.
it does happen, and I want you to be aware of that up front, and if it changes your mind about helping down here, I understand.
No, I definitely still want to help. I get it.
Very
I've
well.
seen it in the wild a little bit, though.
Then I believe you will not be as surprised as some of our assistants when you see what has walked through our doors.
You said there's a point that they're gone, so to speak. What?
Yes, let me show you some of our files before we head further in.
Okay.
She'll head over to a big sort of monitor display,
Yeah.
and she can show you they have a record of a Sudowoodo.
Okay.
Typically, as you and I know now, Sudowoodo is rocky. He's very rocky. Is he rocky? He is. So Sudowoodo typically is a rock type. And they have various photographs from different angles of a Sudowoodo coming in
Okay.
with the sort of left-hand branches all white, and these sort of leaves had fallen off. The fake leaves that they sort of hold like a little chiller pom-poms
Yeah.
that they had turned all white. And then the sort of already rock exterior sort of desiccated and almost looks like marble.
Mm.
And the typically quite jovial face of the Sudowoodo at a certain point begins to look almost like a jack-o'-lantern that's been carved very hastily.
Okay.
And the eyes get quite jagged
Okay.
and just soulless, and the mouth just sort of disappears entirely. And as that disease progresses further, eventually the photographs that they have of it, it is sort of covering its eyes with its hands.
Mm.
And it just stands in the back corner of its sort of holding cell. And it's just never moving.
I mean, at that point, though, is it once they become fully, like, lose all color, or do you think it's happening before that?
There is another stage beyond this.
Oh.
Some of the infected do transition fully from their species into an Elgium or a Behemoth. But
Oh, really?
some species do not. One recently arrived floating down the river is this, and she'll kind of change the slide, and you see something that resembles a polytoad. If it was maybe 35% human. It stands about 5'5", 5'6", Still very frog-like legs and feet. But instead of the sort of more jovial, kind of large posture, it looks sort of like a cave crawler if you've seen The Descent. If you haven't, it's very pale white, completely hairless. The eyes have covered over, as you've seen with a number of these species.
Okay.
The typical sort of like throat pouch where Polytoad would make its songs is all desiccated and just kind of pulled in really tight so you can just see the outline of the neck.
Okay.
And there are some like bullet holes in this thing. It seems like somebody took the liberty of dispatching it. And it's real nasty looking. This is a Polytoad species, common to the lake north of Watalonga.
Yeah.
But this appears to be the sort of final stage for that species. It seems as though most of the younger forms, if we were to find a Poliwag, it would likely transition into an Elgium, in search of perhaps a stronger host. But when they find something sufficiently capable of spreading the sickness more reliably, these mutations occur. The eyes will close over. Any method of making sound is usually co-opted for sort of tearing away the reality that we know. And any weaponry that they may have seems to be augmented more for the rapid dispatching of us. It's a truly frightening stage of events.
Yeah. That's,
Our world seems to be tearing itself apart. But it is our duty down here to find out if there's a way that we might put it back together. Whether it wants to or not.
Yeah, hopefully, I can help do my part.
Well, if you're ready to head a little deeper, our first stop is going to be this Sudowoodo here. So you can see that's now just a live camera feed. Hands covering the eyes, facing away from the door. The poor dear is, as far as we can tell, unable to hear us, but can still see, which is sort of the inverse of what we see in a lot of these final corruption stages. It doesn't particularly enjoy eye contact, so please do not seek it out. And stay a safe distance from the glass.
Oh, okay.
Believe Tito should be along shortly.
Okay.
He's been helping with the prolonged care of this fellow. He's not as violent as the others, so we do still have hope for him to come back, but...
How long has he been here?
Oh, about a week.
A week? What about the Polytoad?
The Polytoad washed up on the banks a couple days ago.
A couple days ago? Okay.
Believe around the time you were assisting upstairs with Dr. Hansen.
Okay.
He was brought in a body bag, so nobody outside caught a glimpse of him. We've been dissecting for anything, but we'll get to that later. Now then, she'll kind of approach this very large, almost like a blast door, and kind of scan her credentials, and there's this big decompression as it opens up into a secondary chamber. As the two of you walk in, and it closes behind you. Hold your arms out, please. She'll kind of T-pose.
Oh, okay.
As a very potent and thick smoke kind of sprays over you.
Okay.
As you are sort of partially disinfected from the outside, but also just sort of coated in a fine mist. We found that this helps to, 1, prevent any new cases from showing up, and 2, it does help to prevent any sort of residue from building up on the outside of your suit. It will make it quite difficult to grab things, though. But we are simply here to observe.
Okay.
As you notice, you're kind of now very slick. You've got these like rubber gloves on that are very, very thick, but there's like almost no friction to you. The one exception area is the bottom of your shoes.
Okay.
You're able to kind of still grip. But as you walk in, you see it's like in like Captain America Civil War. They've got that big sort of octagon room of just like plexiglass, like bulletproof cells. And in each one is just a creature in various stages of infection.
Okay.
But the first one to your left, you see that Sudowoodo just back to you in the corner, eyes covered. And there's this little, maybe foot-tall, pink little plush doll-looking guy. No coverings at all. Clefairy!
Hi.
This is Tito.
Hi, Tito.
And he shoots a little star across and goes, Tito. This, rather remarkable little fellow appeared in our facility a week and a half ago.
Just by
His
himself?
little star display tells us he's from Xantha.
Oh.
Arrived out of nowhere and has been helping us with some of the more advanced cases.
How is he helping?
I wish I knew the specifics.
Yeah.
He seems to wag his finger.
What?
And the disease ceases to progress for the specimen.
Really?
Doesn't seem to be a cure, but it does halt the progression, at least for a time. He just goes, Tito.
And Tito just wandered in here and...
He simply apparated in our presence.
Oh.
As if by magic he was deposited in front of us.
Yeah.
Just when we were trying to figure out what to do,
Tito appeared
Tito
and knew
arrived.
what to do.
He's our little blessing. She'll kind of like rub the top of his head and he's like,
Oh, for real.
you're welcome.
Tito. Interesting.
And he'll just kind of like skip over to the Sudowoodo and just knock on the window. Sudowoodo doesn't move. Just...
You try to do anything else, Tito?
Feel like get better soon.
Okay, right. All right, Tito.
And then he just goes...
Is
and just goes
anything
on to the
happening?
next window. Doesn't seem to.
Oh, that's all that happens is a finger
He
in
just
the
wags
air.
his finger.
What the heck?
I wish I knew, but when modern science fails,
Tito's in...
Tito seems to be in his element, so we just kind of let him do his thing and he lets us do ours.
Interesting.
We stay out of his way, and on occasion he brings donuts in the sort of cleanup area, so...
Wow.
Tito's very helpful.
Yeah.
We really enjoy Tito. He brings an air of levity to this very serious room.
Yeah. Tito's a moonbeam.
Now for one of our more mysterious subjects. She'll walk to the room next to the Sudowoodo is currently empty. No lights are on.
Okay.
The third one is rather mysterious as there's a plexiglass lockup box in front with 3 Pokeballs in it. And in that case is a tiny, it looks like a trainer card, but not like your trainer card.
Okay.
It looks like a trading card of a trainer. And etched onto the back in weird, some sort of crayon, maybe a pen, you see the name Wyman Coover stitched onto the side. And as you come to this glass, you see a small bushel of tentacles just kind of lopsided on the floor, sitting down. These tiny purplish green shoes kind of perched in front of it with these sort of Skechers light up algae. And suddenly it clicks for you. This is Milo's rival Tangela
Yeah.
that people have been asking me about for months. And now finally they get an answer to, hey, is Wyman okay? No, I'm sorry.
No.
I rolled for him
Wyman!
and he failed. So you see Wyman Coover.
I didn't remember his name.
It's okay. He's seated on the floor. These, like, pupilless
Oh no.
silver eyes
Wyman.
stare straight ahead. And by eyes, I mean literally just one. There's just one big central silver eye staring blankly at the wall as the tentacled mass, it looks like somebody took a meatball, covered it in spaghetti, and just plopped it down. Where usually for a Tangela, everything is in constant motion.
Right.
They're kind of pranksters, but otherwise pretty jovial.
Yeah.
Completely hard to read. There's no face to read. But there's these long sort of pseudopod-like, it's like at the end of a squid's long tentacle with those big suction cups.
Yeah.
But with like barbs and needles on the end, just sat out to the side.
Uh-oh.
And it's just staring straight ahead. As far as we can tell, this poor dear's name is Wymond. He had a badge case on him. It seems as though he may have been attempting the gym challenges, which I wasn't aware that was possible. But he also has these three Pokemon registered to his own name. Thankfully, those 3 deers are not infected.
Okay.
It appears they were contained at the time of his
Infection.
corruption, but
No.
we are unsure of how best to proceed.
How did Wyman get up here? Do you know?
Wymond was found in the remains of Mayburn, as far as I understand.
Oh.
What little word we heard is that the poor deer was standing in defense of a town that otherwise had no one watching out for it.
Wow.
For what it's worth, he did manage to
Jeez.
partially subdue our other subject. She points across the hall to a mostly moon-touched Noivern. One eye still present and the other one stitched shut. Half of it similar to Bang. Half of it completely terrified, and the other half looks killing machine ready. And it's just... Seems as though our poor dear read the situation quite well, held back his own partners, and faced the threat by himself.
Jeez.
He's a hero in there somewhere.
Yeah. What the heck?
Any attempt to examine him more closely has resulted in danger, to put it lightly.
Right.
He lashes out quite a bit. It seems as though whatever natural properties he usually had has been replaced by something else. He's very aggressive and has a very potent, sticky substance on the outside of those tentacles that make it very hard to break away. Makes him quite dangerous in the case of spreading his infection to others. And as Tito walks over to you, just kind of tugs on the outside of your incredibly thick hazmat getup, and it takes about a minute for you to notice, because he's got tiny little Tito hands.
Yeah.
He's just... And then eventually he just goes, "Psh, look down!"
What's up, Tito?
And he just goes, "Psh, Wyman."
Yeah.
Sad.
He's not okay?
And he goes, "Shh. Dangerous ability."
Oh. So did Wyman come in like this, or he's been getting worse here? He was in
Wyman
this
was
state?
delivered to us like this.
Okay.
He was quite hostile until we got him in the room and got everything away from him.
Okay. So Tito hasn't tried anything?
We have not let Tito into the room.
Oh, Tito has to go in the room. Oh.
Where with our Sudowoodo friend, almost no level of stimulus generates any reaction. For poor Wymond here, as soon as the chamber decompression is lifted, he's active and ready to go.
Is it the tentacles you're describing too? Is that the same ones that were on who was it? Huntail?
Yeah. They're very,
The
very
same.
similar when you're looking at them.
Okay.
And also on like Dragon.
Yeah.
And partially to Goomy as well.
Yeah.
Although Goomy was more like the little squid from Finding Nemo. It's like starting to grow tentacles. You guys be mean. Kind of like that.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, that's not good. Well, I mean, it's kind of frustrating that there's not anything you can do. How are you doing it, Tito?
He just goes, positivity. And he'll kind of think for a second, and then go, shuckle.
Yeah.
Dangerous ability, and point towards Wyman.
Oh, help suppress his dangerous ability? So you can get in there? Okay. I'll try it.
And he just goes, you did it!
Do I have to pull up Shirley?
Oh, yeah.
Ow.
Shirley Whirly. There is a sort of like feeding hatch, because these are also capable of storing people in most circumstances. But as nobody has seen a moon-touched person, so far as they know,
Yet.
they're not being used for people at the moment. Dr. Ulane will kind of scan her badge and open the feeding hatch. Well, I suppose, Tito, it hasn't gone wrong so far. If you'd like to try, you don't have to send Shirley out, because
Okay.
Shirley's just been giving you these jars.
Okay.
But Tito is like,
Throw it in. All right.
hit him!
Easier said than done, Tito.
Get him! He's like, and he just goes, and a little hand kind of shows up on the inside of the glass.
Oh. Nice. Okay, I'm going to throw the jar at the hand. It just pours it on Wyman.
Pours it on Wyman, and there's this awful shrill shrieking sound of as the purple tendrils kind of pull away, and you see at the inside, it almost just looks like a giant ball bearing. It's just a fully silver orb in the center of Wyman, and those two shoes just fall away from the orb as the tendrils kind of pull to the back. And as Tito just looks in there,
he's looking at the orb.
yeah, he's just kind of scanning at it.
Okay.
Give me a perception check, Peebles.
What are
You
you-
can do this.
Tito, tell me your secret.
Tito!
I swear to God, if you say positivity again, Tito.
Positivity! My thoughts and
Perception.
prayers.
19.
Okay. Tito, similar to like the genie from Aladdin, is
Okay.
like pointing his little
Hand?
translucent hand down at the sort of silver orb,
Yeah.
and just goes, corruption.
That's the corruption. How do we get some anti-corruption
He goes-
in there?
Remove it?
Yes, Tito. How?
Super wise, very low intelligence. Tito's like, you should do that. I don't know how.
I thought you've been doing it.
So-
kind of
So what he's been doing is
preventing
wish.
it. Oh.
He has been wishing for it to not spread,
Ah,
but that's a limited amount of time.
right.
But once they hit a point like Wymond, wishes only get you so far. It's similar to what Star can do.
Okay.
He has different effects,
Okay.
but
But it's similar.
yes.
Okay, Tito. That's what
So
you mean by positivity.
yeah.
You just wish for it.
So Phoebe, go ahead and do. Let's put your new skills to the test. I would allow medicine.
Okay.
You could go really off the wall. You could throw an Arcana check. Arcana is going to be a higher DC, but a much clearer answer if you succeed.
Okay.
Medicine could go a couple different ways.
I'm going to go Arcana.
Arcana? Okay, we love
trying to
it.
figure this
So
out.
you are proficient in it. It is an intelligence-based skill. If you want to do an Arcana check, just go ahead and throw one for me.
Come
You're
on.
going to add your intelligence, and you're going to add your
Come
proficiency,
on.
which should be 3. So basically, if you're proficient in like an intelligence skill, you can just roll that, and we'll say it's Arcana. Because I don't think it's on your sheet.
Yeah, it is on my
Oh,
sheet.
it is?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
even better. So then, yeah, go ahead and roll an Arcana check. You do this. Come on, Phoebe.
Come on.
Come on. I would go so far
Speak-
as to say that Tito is assisting you.
Speak to me, spirits.
Yeah, I'll say Tito's assisting you, so he will give you advantage, but it's a pretty high roll that we need. Although that seems like it's pretty good.
19 plus the modifier is 25.
25. All right, Phoebe. You, having seen enough times Milo rip the corruption out of a creature such as Wyman right now.
Yes.
You are aware that similar to reducing them to almost dead,
Yeah.
Shirley's acid seems to be exposing a weak point.
Okay.
If you were to use a method of perhaps extracting hit points or the equivalent from that seed of corruption, but not to pull it into another creature, you could probably extract the corruption in a sort of jerry-rigged system.
But it has
Unlike
to go
with
into something.
Milo, where Milo can pull it into himself and destroy it,
Okay.
you would have to put it somewhere.
It has to go somewhere.
Yes. So if you were to come up with a method whereby you could extract basically some hit points, to put it in game terms, because this is arcane knowledge for Phoebe.
Okay.
But for you, if you were to sort of steal hit points from this Tangela and not take them into the creature that's stealing the hit points,
Yeah.
you could potentially rip the root of corruption out. You would just have to find a way to destroy it after you're done. Because it's a really high roll.
Oh, like once it's removed fully?
Mhm.
Like,
So once
and
it's
it's
out,
in whatever, that
Yes.
has to be destroyed.
yes.
Okay.
So basically what you would be doing is similar to dipping a syringe into something and extracting what's within. If you were to do like a blood sample, it's
Yeah.
similar to that. You'd have to find a way to pull the essence of the corruption out of that sort of metal ball, leaving behind just Wyman, and then destroy the essence that you've
Right.
pulled out,
Right.
which is the thing that Milo's been doing. So you've
Right.
seen that happen a couple times.
Okay.
But now the ball is sort of in Tia's court to figure out, how do I get from here to there?
Yeah.
But those are the steps that you're able to piece together
Okay.
as these sort of tendrils kind of reform around the ball. So all you'd have to
Okay.
do is throw in some gastro acid, and then if you can come up with the plan from there,
Okay.
it might work.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Hold on, I'm just gonna write something
No,
down
you're
real
good.
quick.
You're good.
Okay.
Because the other thing to consider is this isn't like one day, one afternoon when you're down here. Like you're
Right.
starting to piece together. Okay, we put the gastro acid on. It pulls away from the center, exposing this sort of inner core. How then do we sort of destroy this?
Okay. How do you extract and then put it in something else and then destroy that thing?
Yeah.
Because a Pokemon just using a move that extracts it would go to them.
Potentially, unless they were to try to not let it.
Right. But that would...
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
It's a risky play.
Yeah. Because the default of the move is to go back to the
So it would be similar
originator.
to learning a move in the past, of making a Constitution save, basically, to alter the effect of the move.
Oh.
It would be similar to trying to learn a new
move.
Because it's doing something that you already can kind of do, but doing
not
it
really.
in a completely different way.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Though you did get a pretty high Arcana check.
I'm just writing stuff
Yeah,
down really
so
quick.
the only other hint I will throw in for you is the amount of corruption for one creature, if you were to spread it out, could be absorbed by a number of different creatures. It would just minorly affect all of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to introduce to you the thing that I've been kind of finagling into most everybody's alone time sessions so far. Your Pokemon, your whole team, has a score now that I'm going to endeavor to make sure that you guys can see going forward, called morale. And their morale is determined by how long they've been with you, their general opinion of you, and how, on the fight or flight scale, how far into fight they lean.
Okay.
So your starters, like Nubster,
Yeah.
is a 20 out of 20.
Right.
He will literally fight and die for you before he
Right.
runs away.
Right.
But someone like,
Deerling.
say, Astrid, who has been around for a little bit,
Yeah.
but has seen Goomy and Huntail and Dragon
Crazy.
and Bang. Your
Crazy.
teams have talked. They can converse with each other.
Right.
They have talked with those that came back. They know what they went through.
Right.
They have their limit of how long they will stick with you. So what I'm getting at is, say you were to have Sage or Gleek absorb to pull the essence away. If Sage were to take that full hit, he's going to take a substantial hit to his morale. If you were to, say, spread it out among a couple of your team members, they would each lose 1 instead of one of them losing like 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever the number ends up being.
Is that like going to be role based or?
No.
Okay.
That is just guaranteed. That's if you don't want to do
like
the sort of
amount.
constitution check. So there is a number of corruption
Yeah.
that you will take a hit from, but because this is the first time you're doing it,
Oh.
it will be a mystery. So you
Right,
basically
okay.
have to make a very difficult, unenviable choice where either one of your teammates that is capable of extracting hit points can either make the con save, and it's all or nothing for them. They either successfully divert it, or they take the full hit themselves. I will let you know none of them are going to become moon touched immediately from the failure. The number's not that high.
Okay.
But the morale goes from 20 down to 1. And if it drops to 1 or below, if they're at 1 and their morale takes a hit to 0, they become fully moon touched from there. Rather than it being save or die in every possible encounter, it's a
Right.
wear you down kind of thing.
Okay.
For you guys, because you fought these things enough, you kind of know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
But if their morale starts to get low, I'm talking in the 5 to 1 range, there's a solid chance that when you send them out on their turn and you say they're going to do this thing, they're going to disobey you. They
Okay.
might dodge, they might run.
Okay.
And if that morale starts to get even lower and you're fighting a moon-touched creature, they'll probably just turn tail and run.
Okay.
So their sort of love, their bond with you is setting their morale right now.
Right.
The only way to bring that back up is to get a really high roll, as in like you almost have to crit on a morale check. So if something is trying to moon touch you and you crit that save, your morale will go up because you're like, you have no power here. If you succeed normally, there's no change. If you fail, it probably won't move, but if you fail by a ton or get like a natural 1, it's going to drop by a couple points. So morale is suddenly going to be another bar for you to balance, but this is a perfect way to let you know if you try to save Wymond, there's a chance that either one of your guys is going to take a pretty substantial morale hit, or you can spread it out across your team. Because Milo's not there to take that corruption in and destroy it, this crazy psychic powers.
Right.
Those are sort of the options available to you. Because morale is new,
Okay.
I'll kind of make sure I break that down a little bit better. The only other person on your team that I will let you know that is starting from 20 is Claremont, because his bond with you is unbreakable. This guy would die before he lets you get hurt. BB is also quite far up there. Everybody else is somewhere around 15.
Okay.
Nobody is starting on your team below 10.
Okay.
So just so that that's kind of out there, and I'll make
Right.
sure that you guys get these numbies in future sessions. But for now,
Okay. Okay.
but that is an option for you. I see you may have perhaps stumbled upon another option. Entirely possible. I think it's entirely possible.
Well, would that make sense if you could? I mean, I guess we could test it out before I start trying this on like team members.
Yeah.
If I use the staff to make the rune of purify, can I put the corruption in the rune?
Yes.
And
that is
then
another option.
that.
That's another option, but I wasn't going to hand that one to you. Because I'm so proud of you for having your documents in front of you. I love it. I love it when the players come prepared. Yes. So yes, that is absolutely an option. You can do that as many times as you have charges, which right now your staff's at full because you've gone a couple days without using it.
Okay.
So that is an option for you.
Okay.
And that one, because it is expending a resource, there's no roll required. You could just purify it while the corruption's on its way. You could just fix it.
Okay.
But because that's a similar method to what Milo is doing.
Okay.
It's not even similar. It's the exact method of what he's doing. But the only option you have is to destroy it. Where Milo can be like, I'm going to transmute it into a water stone. Yours is like, I'm going to turn it into dust.
Okay.
It's going to go away.
Okay.
Because you have nowhere to put it because the staff can't absorb it.
Yeah.
It will just get rid of it.
Okay.
Matter can be destroyed. With a deatomizing laser. So yes, that is an option for you as well. I just didn't want to hand that one to you, but you remembered. So proud.
Okay, so let's try that with. I have something weird. I'm gonna try.
Tito's like,
Tito,
try me.
I got this cool staff.
Ooh, shiny.
Yes. And I'm gonna make a rune.
Okay.
And we're gonna try to suck out the corruption.
Okay.
Using a charge.
Tito will hold the sort of gastro acid over Wyman and is like,
ready? Okay.
One.
Right.
As once again the tentacles kind of pull all the way to the back, and you just see this marble just sat in the middle of this room.
Okay.
What does your rune look like? How does it manifest as you kind of like Sailor Moon spin your staff and clock it down? Moon prism power!
What does the rune look like?
Yeah.
For purify?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be super in-depth, but in the sense that where for Bentley, like a symbol of safety is like the stag horns. What to Phoebe is a symbol of like purity? Or
of purity,
of like
purifying.
Cleansing. Yeah. Like if she's spiritual, is it like like a geode or something? It's like a little tiny rock collection, and you're like, if you're like quartz for absorbing negativity. Like what kind of springs to mind for you?
No, I think it would be a very like a very obvious thing of just like a hand.
Okay.
Like entering the corruption.
Okay.
Right? And then like pulling it out. Okay. And then I don't know, like mushing it or do like a whirl, and then it's sucking it into its palm, and then it's just.
Okay. So similar to Tito's hand.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just. You do the vape trick, and then the corruption around the center of Wyman is just slowly ripped away, and you can see beneath that marbled exterior as the sort of purple is drained from the vines, they re-encompass the center and wrap around in a nice, healthy, vibrant, like emerald green. As the hand just like a close-up magician goes, where did it go? And then disappears. Tito's like, high five with his hand over to where yours was. Yeah. And they just, and they both disappear. As Wyman.
Is he normal?
He's normal. He's just stood in this little room like. Dr. Ulane is like completely speechless. Dr. Hansen didn't say anything about this. No wonder he was singing your praises. You're incredible. How did you do that?
With a rune.
Okay.
It's kind of a long story.
Sure.
It's definitely not anything scientific.
Neither is any of this.
It's true. I think that's why it worked.
Can you do that again?
I think so.
Can you do it 2 more times?
Yeah.
All right, for the sake of brevity.
Pseudo Woody.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You
Sooty
walk
Woody.
over to Sooty Woody.
Sooty Woody.
And Tito's like, kind of pours some gastro acid on the outside. And it begins to just kind of coalesce down the front of its face.
Yeah.
As you see a Sudowoodo normal eye just look around terrified.
Yeah.
And you just pull the corruption away again. And then you rinse and repeat for the Noivern.
It works.
3 for 3. But you mark off 3 charges of that staff there.
3 charges.
As 3 of those charges off that staff disappear, you manage over the course of a couple days to kind of crack the sequence that is how Milo manages to do this. But you did it as a mortal. You're like, I have cracked. You're like, science and magic. Why shouldn't they work together? At which point,
a beautiful symbiotic relationship.
Towards the end of probably your 3rd or 4th day down in the infectious disease ward.
Yes.
You and Dr. Ulane are just kind of sitting, eating some donuts with Tito.
Yes.
And your pager goes off.
Heck yeah, Tito.
And there's this massive rumbling in the building above you.
Oh boy. I don't like that.
It's even the kind of cups on the table are and
like
Tito's
it.
just and just pushes it back to away from the edge of the table. It lasts for about 3 seconds.
Okay.
And then it stops. We must have had an earthquake.
An earthquake?
I suppose we should check up ahead.
Okay.
And as the 2 of you kind of decontaminate and finish the rest of your exit from the infectious disease ward, you head outside. There's a pretty substantial dust cloud kind of settling over Ambercrag. And as you look way down in the distance, there is a tremendous wall of water flowing away from the region.
Oh, okay. I thought it was coming this way. It's like, what?
As it just...
I'm not prepared for a tsunami.
There's just a wall of water, and thankfully you don't have to be as it's flowing away. But you see...
What the heck?
A new sort of rocky island about 600 feet off the coast.
Just show up?
That seems to have just landed, and everybody is looking up towards the Sierras.
Okay.
As a massive chunk of rock from that mountain has just been sheaved clean off.
Excuse me?
And there's a blue plume of smoke and ash just on the other side of the mountain from you, which would put it in roughly Watalonga.
What the heck?
Well, that can't be good.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And you get a page from Dr. Hansen. We may need an extra set of hands.
Right?
Don't suppose you've seen the cloud. As Dr. Lani's like, go.
Okay.
Everyone down there has been taken care of for now.
Right.
If anyone else comes in, I'll
let
them know that we have a miracle worker on hand. And Tito's like, 2. She's like, yes,
true.
Tito, we have 2 miracle workers on hand.
Wait a second. So Tito his wish can't cure it.
Correct. His wish can stop it from progressing for an amount of time.
Did Tito try that though?
Tito has been trying. He's like,
go
be
away.
cured, and it's just like, it just stops, and he's like,
okay,
be cured.
okay.
But instead, he's like, well, whatever.
Okay.
Just don't
I'll
get
take
worse.
what I can get. Yeah. Okay.
But yes, as you kind of head back into the main body of the hospital.
Yeah.
Dr. Hansen's right inside the door, and you can see a number of sort of flying silhouettes heading over the mountain towards that shockwave. We've received word from some the lovely folks, the routers, the reuters, the folks that run the PG coop.
Yeah.
Apparently there's been some sort of explosion over the mountain. They're off to go survey the casualties and bring back any injured. So we are to prepare a trauma center.
Oh.
And you were very helpful before. I have heard You have a particularly strong
Yes,
machoke
yes.
that may be quite useful
Yes.
in the coming moments.
Claremont will help.
Okay.
Boysenberry could definitely help too.
Yeah, boysenberry would be very helpful. Dr. Hansen and a number of sort of like orderlies just kind of head out, and they all have a bunch of these, like those big like gurney things that kind of like can wheel people around in.
Okay.
And they all just kind of set up outside, and you guys are just watching as this dust cloud settles and the ocean's very choppy.
So is that the mountaintop in the ocean?
Yeah. It's not good.
No.
As
nothing ever good starts with a mountaintop being cleaved off and sent to the ocean.
After about 90 minutes, that dust cloud kind of finally settles.
I don't like it.
All of the medical supply and personnel are kind of ready, as landing one at a time with these large Pidgeots are bodies.
Uh-oh.
Pokemon and people. Many, many, many deceased. Many in like critical condition.
Yeah.
As Phoebe, I would love for you to throw a perception check.
Okay.
As these individuals are being carted through.
Unnatural 20.
Unnatural 20. Okay. Very good. As you are sort of helping Dr. Hansen and these orderlies just sort of get individuals onto gurneys, you start to see some familiar faces.
Oh.
You see Diego.
What?
Isabel. Diego seems to have a bandage kind of wrapped around his head, fully unconscious. And there's a little bit of blood kind of pooling through there. And you hear some of these orderlies are like, name's Diego, apparently concussion, send him on through. Isabel, fractured wrist and a couple cracked ribs, send her on through. We got a kid here. We got a kid. Name is apparently Ty. Diego's listed as his guardian, send him on through.
No.
Seems to be mostly superficial cuts.
Okay.
Seems to be okay, and they're kind of sending these individuals through. We've got a Ludicolo.
Uh-oh.
Looks some sort of chemical burn. I'm not sure. Send them on through. We have a VIP. We have Remy LaRue. Please send him to the sort of critical trauma wing. I've got a dugong with a missing fin and a cracked horn. Your perception is high enough. This dugong is Rose.
What?
Rose is currently missing the front right fin and a solid chunk of her back fin. And her horn has kind of cracked off and one of her eyes is just swollen shut. As she's being carted on in, get this dugong over to Dr. King, please. We may be able to sort of staunch the bleeding as it gets worse. I have a Houndoom with a missing leg, and they kind of haul it up there as you see Growl. Missing the front right leg. The back right leg is shattered, and the front right horn is also just blown off. And there's these horrible blue like chemical burns on everybody coming through.
What the heck?
We've got a Croconaw, no signs of life. As you see Crash, where there should be a source stone on his back, there's nothing. There is a dent, and you can see spine and muscle. Get him into emergency surgery. We may still be able to salvage this. As he's being dragged in. You see a massive mag mortar that they cannot haul onto a gurney, but he will not leave the side of Bentley Woods, who has 3 massive stab wounds through the abdomen and that same blue chemical burn up the entire front of his body. We got a local. I know this kid. This is Bentley. Get him in. Get him in to help get in contact with his parents. They should be down the street. As they haul him in with Mortar. Mortar does not leave his side. He looks at you with just a look of sheer terror, looks down at Bentley and is like, help, and just drags Bentley in. No sign of CJ.
Oh my God. What the
So
heck?
Phoebe, who do you help?
What do you mean, who do I help?
You're one
Who do I help
person.
first?
Yeah, you're one person. Who do you help?
Oh my God. You said Bentley was unconscious? They all have...
Bentley,
They all have blue chemical burns.
They all
is
have
what you
blue
said?
chemical burns.
Okay.
Which it doesn't take you long to piece together if Crash's source stone is missing and there was an explosion.
It blew up.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck?
So who do you help?
Oh
You got
my
Rose?
God. Yeah.
Growl? Bentley? Remy? Ty? Diego? Isabel? Evangeline? Which is Remy's Ludicolo. You've got options. None of them are good.
I mean, it's not like I'm stuck on one person, right?
No,
If
but
I
just
pick-
who do you go to first? You've spent enough time in this hospital to know
Yeah.
nobody that you have seen so far has been in this critical of condition.
Okay. Okay, I feel like I should make sure, I'll start with Bentley, make sure he's, like, stable.
Okay.
So I'll go where he was sent first.
Okay. You follow Bentley. It's not hard. Mortar's right by his side. As you run on in, you see Bentley is, like, extremely shallow breathing. Very much unconscious.
Yeah.
And the 3 stab wounds are from very clearly serrated claws that punctured clean through him and then ripped back out. And there's a black and green sort of, it almost looks like mold just stuck to the outside of this wound.
Black,
And it seems to be
green,
preventing it from closing.
green mold. Okay. Can I take, like, a sample of that without...
Yeah,
Like
as you kind of
touching
walk
it?
in, you can see everybody's just sort of looking him over. There's a big buzz of trying to get a hold of Tom or Helen
Okay.
because Bentley's a local kid.
I'm
These
gonna-
doctors know him.
Okay, I'm gonna scrape some of that off and then send it to Dr. Ulani
Okay.
immediately. Just, like, send it down to her, have her figure out what it is.
Very good. Yeah, she'll, like an orderly's like, right away. Right away, Dr. Wilhelm. And they run down. So you're like, yeah. Wait, shoot, things are bad. I gotta,
Wait, no,
I gotta
nobody
stay
trust
composed.
me.
I gotta stay composed. Okay, so you send a little sample of this down to the below side. And you can see Bentley right now is just one big bruise.
Jesus.
Because he was so close to whatever this was.
Jesus Christ. Does it look, would there be any way for me to know if I did a closer look of, like, was he stabbed first and then, like, blown away?
For that, let's do a medicine check.
Okay.
Because you'd be able to tell, like, based on how these things are looking.
Based on the pattern of a burn.
Yes.
Okay, so you said medicine?
Yep.
All right. Oh, natural 20 on the die!
Okay. So you were able to kind of like CSI Dexter Morgan this.
Okay.
You look at Bentley and you can see the initial stab wound. He was still active and sort of wriggling and quite healthy
Okay.
when he was stabbed.
When he was stabbed.
Because the entry wound is very jagged. So something was trying to stab him or was stabbing him, and he was flailing trying to get away.
Then he was burned.
Yes, the sort of removal, that serration, really just made it worse, and that mold seems to have been placed there as soon as he was stabbed. Meaning that whatever stabbed him probably injected him with something.
Okay.
And you can see he looks similar to when Helios first left him.
Okay.
Very, very pale, very gaunt, very sickly.
Okay.
And kind of similar to that Jolteon. Bentley is
Oh.
obviously diseased in some way.
Okay.
But until Dr. Ulane gets back to you,
Okay.
who's to say from what? And then, yes, the explosion sort of chemical burns. You're able to piece together with that. Definitely happened after he was stabbed, and it's likely Bentley was barely conscious, as it's primarily on, like, his face.
Okay.
And it looks like,
Like
he
he
was
didn't
laid.
cover.
It looks like he was prone, or had maybe barely had been getting up before whatever it was blew up on it.
Happened.
But he had to be right next to it.
Okay.
But he is fully unconscious. Like, he will probably be out for several days.
Okay. But stable,
More or less.
more or less.
That disease.
For now.
Yes. For now, he's not bleeding.
Okay.
But that
He's not bleeding.
whatever is on that wound will not let it close, and it just sort of oozes, just very gently. He's not gushing blood, but he is just oozing blood. It won't stop.
Okay.
It just keeps pouring.
I'm gonna take some of the bandage and just like wrap it around him.
Okay.
Just to see
that'll stop the bleeding.
That'll stop it. Okay.
Yeah. It won't stop the infection that's on there.
Right, but it'll stop the bleeding.
Yes, and Phoebe, you're very quickly able to see, one, that wound is infected by whatever it is.
Right.
And it's also just infected because he's just been laying out by whatever was stabbed him.
Okay.
And then probably, from what you can tell, he was floating in water for a while.
Oh.
He's a little pruny. Looks like a raisin.
Okay.
That's been stabbed. Like those guys that did surgery on a grape.
Okay. What the heck? Of course they got into something crazy.
Yeah.
And then show up like this.
Naturally. They just sort of show up. Like they've been gone for a week. And they just...
And yeah, and then a mountaintop blows up.
Yep.
And they show up immediatay after.
You know how kids is and all that, playing with dynamite and stuff, whatever it is they were doing. Who knows?
Okay.
I'm not saying.
I'm gonna clean it then, just to like clean it and then bandage it, and then
and they can give him like penicillin and stuff to keep a fever down. But
okay.
They like even Dr. Hansen's able to say this boy will likely be unconscious for several days.
Okay.
Which might be for the best.
Can I look at Mortar? Does Mortar look fine?
Mortar looks fine.
Okay.
Terrified.
Yeah.
But fine.
I'll be like, I'll turn to Mortar.
He's shivering because he's a fire type and he's clearly been floating in water for a long time.
Okay.
So his flames are quite low. He's perfectly healthy. He's just terrified.
Okay.
As he's like,
he's gonna be fine. We're gonna figure it out. Do you know what stabbed him? I'm gonna point at his stab wound. What? Was it Crash? All right. Come find me if he wakes up. Don't let anyone weird come in this room. Yeah. Yes. I like it. Except for the doctor's staff. Well, somebody could disguise themselves. Maybe I'm getting too meta.
Mortar's real paranoid now.
Sorry, Mortar. I'm not helping.
If you only knew what Mortar had just been through, he's like...
I don't need to put him more on edge. Okay. Just let only me and Dr. Hansen in here. Okay.
As you can see, Tom Woods come...
Okay, just kidding him!
And Mortar's like...
Oh, sorry, I forgot his family is coming. His dad can come in.
He's like, Mortar, is that you? And just comes running through. Oh my god, my boy! It just kind of looks at Bentley. He's like, oh, my boy, I told you to be careful. You were only gone for 3 days. What happened?
Do you know where he went?
He said he was headed north.
That's it?
Yeah, they went through the cave.
Oh, they went through the cave? Went north.
Is he gonna be alright?
I think so. I don't know for sure. Something stabbed him.
Well, I can see that.
Why? Well, it's bandaged. You're not supposed to.
He's got bandages on his belly.
Something, yeah, I don't know. I think he might be infected with something, but we have to figure out what it is. But he seems...
Infected?
I think he's okay for now. He's breathing.
Oh, jeez. He's like, come on, buddy. Pull through. And Bentley's just super shallow breathing.
Is that the cave that, like, you can take a shortcut through? Or otherwise, you have to go a long ways? Okay. The dangerous cave? Clearly.
It's the cave that the Green River flows right on through, all the way up to Fola and beyond.
This is not good. What the heck happened? And where's CJ?
Yeah, no sign of CJ at all.
I'll be right back. We're working on it. Mortar's...
Yeah, he's just rocking back and forth, and Mortar's like...
All right, Mortar.
Using his very discerning duck eyes.
Do you need some tea or something? Can I get you... Mr. Bentley, do you want... Mr. Bentley?
Mr. Bentley? Mr. Bentley's dad?
Mr. Woods,
yeah.
Do you want some tea or
Tom
something?
Is just inconsolable. He's just rocking back and forth. Seems to be in shock.
I'm going to slip out of the room and let him have his moment, and then like grab someone and be like, if someone could bring like a drink or something for him in there. Here's Dad.
An individual that you haven't interfaced with yet so far is kind of heading down the hall past you, stops and just glances a little bit too long in Bentley's room and goes, "My word, he looks rough," and just walks past. Phoebe, give me a history check.
I know that voice anywhere.
Yeah, you do. That's why it's a pretty low DC, but there's a chance that in
what am I
the
doing?
Pianic, a history check.
History?
Yeah.
With all the hubbub?
Yeah.
That's fair.
There's a chance that you're like, later. You and I are going to talk later. You piece. Fix there.
17.
Yeah, you know that very, very arrogant voice anywhere. But it just walks by, says that comment, and then just kind of folds into a mass of orderlies as they're kind of headed off towards the trauma wing.
So do I lose him if I was to try to...
There's potential. But some friends of yours might need some extra help.
That's true.
You've got to make a choice.
Rick. Can I... No. Who would have seen him? Did I get a decent look, or does he look like everyone else?
He looks like everyone else. But you caught like a glimmer of a golden eye look into a room before just heading off. And you're like, ah!
Okay, you
But
know
it's an
what?
offer you can't
I know
accept.
what I can do later.
Okay.
To maybe try to find him, track him. Okay.
Okay.
Noted. Demon in house.
Demon in the hospital. Oh no.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Crash next.
Okay. You go to Crash. There's currently only 2 sort of doctor individuals in here.
Okay.
Crash currently has no pulse. The sort of crater on his back where the source stone should be.
Yeah.
You can see the veins that it had traveled to root itself into him have been just completely extracted.
So it was ripped out of him.
Seems to have been.
Or does it look like it exploded on his back?
Make a medicine check.
Medicine? 18.
Both. It looks like it was ripped out of his back after it was detonated. So basically something shattered it and then just extracted every last portion of it out of his spine.
So they shattered it while it was still on
Crash was
him,
ground zero.
and then ripped it out pieces.
And then just absorbed every element of it. There is no sign on Crash of anything source related at all.
I feel like this is the Oni. That's like the only thing that could maybe take out Crash. With Bentley and like Mortar and everyone else there too.
Yeah. So the only leading question I have for you, Phoebe, is do you remember who has the ambrosia?
I thought it was D.
Might be. Because I regret to inform the audience at home and also Jordan, who doesn't know this yet. That's what it's going to take to get Crash back.
The one that's left.
His time
I don't think I have it, do I?
I don't believe so.
I don't think I have
But
it.
Crash's time of death is approximately 2 hours ago.
Holy crap.
Based on the explosion in his back and the decomposition of what's left of him. There is no life in those eyes. That jaw is completely slackened. And most of Crash is missing. It is like a hollowed out crocodile. And on that horrifying note, Phoebe, that's where we're going to end your first week of helping at the Ambercrag Medical Center.
Oh my god.
Because I'm going to give you some time to collect your thoughts. Phoebe's talents have grown immensely over the last week of training, but nothing could have prepared her for what just walked through the door. If you enjoyed this episode of Boarding Party, please consider leaving a like on the video to show your support. If you'd like to see more of the Tots and stay up to date on the Laris region, why not subscribe to the channel? If you'd like to help us out in other ways, you can follow the links in this video's description box to our Patreon. From there, you can join the discussions in our Discord server, or check out the post show, Still Rolling, and get a recap of every session with myself and the crew.
Let us know in the comments below what you thought about Phoebe's time in the medical center so far, her progress with Tito and the Moon Touched, and the arrival of so many of our friends and allies. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next week as Bentley and CJ finally arrive in Wadalonga and find it very much a changed place.